cravings are actually a deficiency. Sugar is really important for electrolytes. People think like, oh, sugar is bad. No, sugar is good if you're burning thousands of calories or hundreds of calories. You need sugar. Hardest thing is getting off the bed and leaving the door. No one cares. Work harder. You know, whatever. You're tired. It's okay. No one cares. Go get it done. You've been here before, and you didn't give up last time, and you're not going to give up this time, and you're not going to give up. But then as you keep adding those and stacking those bricks, years later, you're like, well, I'm not giving up anytime. Maybe that one day because I was really feeling unwell, but now it's been 99 out of 100 days that I've finished it. Yeah. So why is today any different? And I'm going to find a way because that's what champions do. Because if you really want to be a champion at anything, you just find a way. And that's what it takes to be a winner. The genius thing we did was not give up. Over years of not negotiating with yourself, it just becomes a habit that you don't go back on saying, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, because tomorrow never comes. Today is the day. What I learned was how to deal with suffering, how to deal with adversity, start learning how to manage a lot. And I think that's what's kind of led me here. Big part of managing a lot is also sacrificing a lot. Someone can have a lot of talent, and it always says, oh, talent is meaningless if you don't put in the work, right? But a winning mindset, I think you're not just born with something. You're born with ability, but you have to hone that over your lifetime. You can be born a complete failure, loser, whatever you want to call it, and be a complete winner because you taught yourself how to win. Super talented, gifted and all, but says, I have it in me and I'll do it.
It's easy.
It's the perfect example of the hair.
Hello everyone. Today we have Aadit Zaveri with us. He is a former professional squash player. He's ranked number 5 in India and 145 in the world. These days, he is competing in ultramarathons. He's also starting his own company and whatnot. More or less, he's also set his eyes on his next big goal, which is the Badwater 135 in Las Vegas. Let's hear from him how he does it all and what's his next goal. Hi Aadit, welcome on Unmask My Skin Yoga.
Hi Charity, how are you doing? Thank you for having me on. I'm very excited for today.
Likewise. So Aadit, tell me, how are you able to do so much?
From a young age, I think most of our journey starts obviously at that time of what we're able to do and how much we can manage. I would say as a young kid, I was put into a lot of things at one time. And I tried my best, but the best part was going to boarding school when I was about 15. Because in India, we have school, we have tuitions, but when you go to boarding school, you're really in the deep end. You have to no one cares if you're going to finish it or not. You don't have parents pushing you. I was in England at the time, and that gave me a really good sense of wanting to keep my sport alive, try to be a champion there, and then obviously you have to do good in academics, you want to go to college. I think that gave me a really good foundation to start learning how to manage a lot. And I think that's what's kind of led me here. Big part of managing a lot is also sacrificing a lot.
Yeah, no, of course. So how did your journey in ultramarathons and performance coaching begin?
I would say ultramarathons, well, I was a former professional squash player. And I represented India, as a junior. And then I went on to the seniors where I played on the Professional Squash Association tour called the PSA. And I was about 145 in the world and doing well, but unfortunately COVID hit. Oh. And at that point, I was living in Cairo, Egypt, training with the best, but beyond the point of we didn't know what was happening with squash. And I was coming back home after almost 15, 16 years, and I have a very, very deep hunger to perform, to, try to be a champion in whatever I do. And I think at that point, I just found that something I've done from a young age was running. And I said, why not try? And during COVID, because we didn't have gyms, we didn't have access to anything, I started doing a lot more running to stay fit. And I think that just kind of spread on to saying, let me try ultra marathons. I felt like marathons a lot of people can do, but I always like to stand out. That's just in whatever I do. And other ultra marathons, so let's try doing 100 kilometers. And then everyone's just like, dude, are you crazy? You've not even done 25 kilometers, because in squash you don't need it. And you're going to go from 21, 25 to 100. And I think that drove me even more, saying I'm going to show everyone. And that's how it started.
So I think you recently ran 92 kilometers.
Yeah, that's right.
How was that? Can you take us through, what happens when you run?
It's called the Comrades, the race that I wanted to start my professional running career with. I didn't do a half marathon. I didn't do a 10K. I didn't do a full marathon. I straight went for 92, which is a little crazy. But I felt that was what I needed to be in this place. And when I got into the race, because you have to get selected, you have to do a full marathon before that. So I had to do one just because, obviously dangerous running 92 kilometers for the body, for the mind, etc. But that was probably one of the best experiences of my life. It was one of the hardest things that I've ever done, especially because I was trying to train for it in a very short amount of time. I got it only as a substitute in March end, and I had to run it in June. And I've not done anything over 21 kilometers until March.
Wow.
And I had to go from 21 to 36 to 42 to 56 to 65, all in training in Bombay.
Yeah.
I'll go to Ambi Valley and run all night long with a car behind me and my coach.
Oh, wow.
Shout out to Satish Gujran. He's the greatest comrade runner in India. 13 times running, he's done it in a row.
Wow.
So he said, "You're crazy, but let's find a way."
Yeah.
Trained with him for 3 months every day, and then went to South Africa and I did it. Yeah, I did it in 11 hours. It was probably the hardest thing I've done, but also one of the best things I've ever done. You know, completing that, seeing my parents and my wife at the finish line. Oh my God, like it was incredible.
Wow.
So
And what about the next goal that you have set for yourself, the Badwater 135?
yeah, so I think Badwater 135 is this incredibly special race that, I mean, people on the running community know about. It's 135 miles or 220 kilometers non-stop running in the hottest place on planet Earth, in Las Vegas, Nevada. Starts in Death Valley and it goes all the way up, up, up. For 48 hours straight, you have a cutoff to around 220 kilometers in almost 55, 60 degrees Celsius. So it is the hottest place, the hardest run. It is the hardest race in the world to get into. And only 50 new entrants are allowed every year. So I think there's one Indian who's ever done it. And I think that was quite a few years ago, but I want to try being the second Indian to represent India. To get into the races, firstly, is just a juggernaut task, but once you are in it, then to finish it is the harder part. So now, hopefully the next 1-2 years is what I'm training for that.
Amazing. We wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
So tell us, what do you learn by running these insane kilometers that you don't learn in a classroom or in a boardroom?
So the 2 words that my coaches all along my life always talked about was character building. And I don't think I can explain that better than someone who's really gone through it. And I think character building can be anything. It can be art, it can be music, it can be running, it can be sports, doing this podcast, What I learned was how to deal with suffering, how to deal with adversity, because you're going to keep having to push yourself when you really don't want to. Because not every day do I want to get up and run 15, 20, 30 kilometers. And I do. Minimum 12 to 15 kilometers a day. Sometimes before work, sometimes after work. But it's more about what are your goals and having no negotiation with yourself. Because where people negotiate, they'll be like, I'll wake up a little later, I'll eat tonight, I'll have that cookie. But when I'm locked in, no negotiation. But it also takes a long time to build that. You can't just wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to give up everything and do it. I've done this for now 20 plus years in different sports. And I think that just over time builds character. And that character that you have, it can spread out into all different parts of your life. Whether it's friendships also, just being a really good friend or a husband or whoever, a wife, I think that's what it's taught me, character building.
That's true, because I always have an excuse that because I'm in Bombay, I can't do 10K steps, let alone running. Yeah. So I'm like, I can't do it. But when I'm traveling and if the roads are clean, I'm like, yeah, here I can do. See, look, I did 20K a day without, any effort.
Yeah.
And here I can't do more than, so it's not my fault. It's the fault of the infrastructure.
It is though, I'll tell you something to interject. Running or walking in this city, Mumbai, as much as I love it, it's my home, it is so tough. Because for me, the pollution, the potholes, the people, the animals, the infrastructure, it just does not allow you to do that. I have to go at like 3 in the morning alone on the road, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, 2 in the morning. I literally run at night if I'm doing long runs. Anything over 16 kilometers, I have to run at night. And if I have to do really long runs, I can't do it in Bombay. I have to go to Ambi Valley, I have to go to Lavasa and Pune, this, that. Because it is an excuse, yes, because you can find a way, but I don't blame people because I'm like a highly motivated person with really big goals, and I still struggle going sometimes. So someone who doesn't have that is obviously going to struggle. So I empathize with them. But if you want it, you'll find a way.
Yeah.
And that's what champions always kind of think about. Like, how will you just find a way. You got to find a way.
True. And what is the kind of mindset someone needs to do 92 kilometers?
The first thing is you have to be willing to deal with a lot of pain and suffering, because you don't go through that just easily. I don't think there's a person, even if they're number one on that list or the end, who hasn't dealt with pain and suffering. And you have to accept that that's a big part of it.
Are
And
you talking about physical pain?
it's all. It's emotional, it's psychological, it's physical, it's mental. Obviously, physical is the most known because you're like, okay, I'm gonna hurt my body is gonna pain.
Yeah.
But it's the emotional that I am at kilometer 6, something doesn't feel right in my knee, but I have to run another 85 kilometers or 86. How do you do that?
I don't know.
That's the thing. And you have to be incredibly present every step. You can't start snowballing.
Okay.
You can't think, okay, what's going to happen at kilometer 20 or 30 or 40? No. So let's think of this kilometer. Let's finish these 5 kilometers. And obviously, long distance running has strategies.
Okay.
We have 0 to 10 kilometers. I'm going to eat this much because it's a nutrition strategy as well. Because if you don't eat the right food during running, you don't drink the right water, the electrolytes, the sodium, you're done. It doesn't matter how strong you are. If you don't have a nutrition strategy in place on race day or these long runs, you will be humbled. And so you need to really, really understand that everything has to be in place
Okay.
to get it right.
Okay.
And you will feel all sorts of pain. And I think that you have to be able to self-positively talk the entire time because you're going to have negative doubts, demons in your ear the entire time. Just saying, oh, are you sure you can do it? Oh, you're not going to do it. It's okay if you fail. You didn't have enough time to train. You have to find and hold on to that one reason that makes you want to complete it. And that's always what I hold on to. Somehow I've developed that skill over years of holding on to that. That's saying, I'm going to get it done. And I'm a Taurus, my birthday is week. I'm like super, super stubborn about my goals. And being stubborn, maybe in friendships and relationships, is not good because you don't want to say sorry. But in your own personal goals, you have to have that winning mentality and think, what would a champ do? And that's how I think about it.
So you've also mentioned this before, that it's not the body that gives up, it's the mind. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean, see, the body has to originally be strong. You can't be just a couch potato and say, I'm going to go run 92. Yes, over years you can maybe do that. But so your body has to have the ability first, but then it all comes down to the mind. Whether it's professional sport, squash, now that I'm dabbling in paddle a lot more, running. The thing with paddle and squash is it's a competitive sport with other players.
Right.
So there's limited you can control because you can only really give your best that day and hope it's good enough. But with running, which is you versus you or the clock, there's a lot more you can control, which is sleep, food, nutrition, stretching, warming up, cooling down, all those things. But you have to stack them daily. You can't just, hey, I'm going to do this. No, it takes like years of immense understanding of your body and how you can get around the loopholes and, find a way again, and I think it just comes with a lot of experience too. Experience is a big part of it. Yeah.
So you said that, there's a lot of negative talk that happens while you are in that competition or in that run. How do you talk yourself out of it? And what is that one goal that you said that, okay, I have that one goal that motivates me to go take a next step?
Yeah.
What is it?
I have to give it to people that I'm inspired by too. I'm inspired by a lot of athletes, pro athletes. I'm inspired by my parents. My dad was a former national champion swimmer, multiple times, represented India at the highest level. So I always think in those really tough moments, now I also rely on what I have become, my personal goal of who I want to become. But it's also, okay, but what would a champion do in this moment? What would Federer do? What would Michael Jordan do? These behemoths that I'm truly inspired by daily. And I kind of put myself in their shoes and I think they're not giving up here. They're winners and so are you. And maybe I'll never be anything like them. That's different. But you have to start emulating their behavior because that's what will take us to the next level. Oh, my dad have done, or what would this person have done? And then you slowly start developing that experience that you've been here before and you didn't give up last time and you're not going to give up this time and you're not going to give up. But then as you keep adding those and stacking those bricks, years later, you're like, well, I'm not giving up any time. Maybe that one day because I was really feeling unwell, but now it's been 99 out of 100 days that I've finished it. Yeah. So why is today any different? So you start relying on your personal experience also of not giving up. And that's what I mean. I rely on myself that I didn't give up that day and I didn't give up and I didn't give up. And there's no need to do it today.
It sounds easy, but I'm sure when you're there, It
is-
requires a lot.
You are fighting with yourself. It's every day is a battle.
And there's nobody to blame because in a sport where you have other players, you can always blame your racket or your
Anything. There's many excuses there,
the
but
light.
when you're alone,
Yeah.
no, it's you and yourself. And that is the hardest thing out there. Yeah, it's very hard.
So tell us, somebody who wants to start doing marathons or ultra marathons, where should they start?
So I would say the first thing for someone is kind of set yourself a goal. If someone hasn't run, say, 5K before, start with a 5K. Even walking it, just completing it.
Okay.
Starting small. Start very small. Not everyone has been in my shoes of living a professional athlete life for 25 years, right? Some people just are motivated today. We see something on Instagram because we have so much access to all these unrealistic, by the way, Instagram reels all day long. Oh, I did 25K today and I did this and I did that. Okay, calm down.
Yeah.
There's, not everyone is meant for that. Everyone wants a more balanced life sometimes.
Yeah.
I wasn't one of those people, so I chose this life. But someone wants to start small. Start with a 3K, start with a 5K. Find yourself a coach who can help you.
Okay.
You need support. I've had the most incredible support in my life from my parents, my wife, my friends. I mean, without them, none of this was possible, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little more. But start small, get a right coach, a mentor, someone who's been there before to guide you with it. And start ticking those things off. And eventually 5 becomes a 10K. And 10K is oh, you know what? I can do double. 21K is right there.
Yeah.
21K becomes 42. And you're wait, I just finished a full marathon. It'll take time and you have to be patient because nothing's going to happen overnight. Small goals, find the right person or people around you, coach, and be patient. And obviously goes without saying, but hard work trumps all.
Yeah.
Hard work has to be there.
Consistency.
Consistency.
I follow you and I always see that you're always running and you don't break.
The 3 things that my mantra is, first has to be hard work. Second has to be consistency of that hard work. And third has to be patience through it all. Those are my 3 things that I just think of daily. That's the bottom of my pyramid, the foundation. Everything else I can build on top of this. But hard work, consistency of that hard work, and patience. That will start leading you to your goals far faster than anything else will.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, and what does your training look like? How do you balance strength, mobility, nutrition, and recovery?
Yeah, obviously I found systems that work for me. But for people who think, oh, I can do it once in a while, no, you cannot be more wrong. I do it every day. It sounds so chaotic sometimes that I have to do something every day for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But it's not like that to me anymore. I run every day, 6 days a week. Sunday is a complete rest day. And in a rest day, what I mean is I try to be a little active. I don't have to do something big. Massage. I get a massage at least once a week, a therapeutic, like a physiotherapy massage, kind of unlocking all the knots in my body, stretching me out a little. Daily, I warm up, which people do not do. And cool down, which people don't do. I see people coming onto the paddle. I'm literally, I out of paddle, at least in community-wise, I'm probably one of the fittest people, but I still am there early and I warm up and I cool down and I see people who are so unfit just coming and hitting and I'm thinking, just because you think the sport is easy doesn't mean you can't get injured.
Yeah.
It's about injury prevention. And then they'll get injured and oh, that happened. I'm like, yeah, but you just walked on the court, probably were just I don't know.
You got off your car and
You didn't do anything.
Yeah.
You just twisted it for a race and you were at
then you better be there at least 6.
I might imagine, obviously people don't have that built in them for years, but if my match is at 7, I'm the 1 hour earlier. Or not for practice, but practice and they're half an hour, 45 minutes.
Used to the environment.
Environment, of course. And if it's actual competition in squash days, oh my God, that's a whole different level.
Yeah.
But warm up, even 5 minutes, 10 minutes, do some activation, cool down, a little static stretching, a little running before, a little cool down after, massage once a week, which will just kind of relax your body and your mind.
True.
Light swimming if you like, or jacuzzi or a sauna. Saunas are extremely beneficial. Luckily in my building I have one, so I go almost every day. 10 minutes just before you sleep or something like that. It really relaxes you.
Okay.
And foam rolling, just basic stuff. It's so simple, but people are lazy.
Yeah.
Their minds are lazy. I'll do it tomorrow.
Also, maybe they don't know. Maybe also steam, sauna. These are all things that's termed as more as spa.
Yeah, I think it's just there's not enough information out there.
I agree.
But the basics like warm up, cool down, stretching,
Yeah, that's
massage, that everyone on planet Earth knows at this point. We had access to everything today.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go for some 5,000 rupees spa massage. I mean, you can literally get like a malish wala and come and like it's very reasonable, you know.
Yeah.
And but you can feel a lot better. You can feel 25-30% better week on week. And that over time compounds into a whole lot feeling better. So when you recover better, you can perform better. And when you perform better, you're getting faster better. And that's what's leading to your goals. Not that, oh, I need to go to a doctor, I need to get this supplement. No, all of that is secondary.
Yeah.
Basics are the foundation, is just this basics.
Yeah, because these are the things you have it in your control.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So how much of your performance comes from physical training versus mental training?
It's, I would say, different because pro squash has been most of my life as a junior and senior. Now, ultramarathons has been 2 years. Firstly, I'm blessed with a psychologist for a wife.
Oh.
She is super
How
intelligent.
clever, Aadit.
Yeah, I know. Somehow I had it in the back of my mind. But, you know, she's taught me a great lot in the last 7, 8, 9 years of knowing her. So, mental and physical. I would say physical, I can't quantify it. Physical is every day, you have to give it 100%, and mental also theoretically is 100%. However, I would say the emotional and mental part is more important.
Right?
100%. Because a lot of people are fit and strong, but who has it in their mind when they don't want to do something and they just do it? That's the most important. So,
Do you think there's something called a winning mindset? Do you think there's one particular person who will always win in everything that he or she does versus somebody who wants to win, but even though he's as capable as the other person, doesn't win? Do you think that people scared of winning?
that's a great question. And, you know, as me, my coaches, you know, I was blessed with some amazing coaches who've basically had multiple world champions under them. But yes, I agree with that because, like, for example, someone can have a lot of talent and, you know, it always says, oh, you know, talent is meaningless if you don't put in the work, right? But a winning mindset, I think you're not just born with something. You're born with ability, but you have to hone that over your lifetime. You can be born a complete failure, loser, whatever you want to call it, and be a complete winner because you've taught yourself how to win. Winning is still a skill in whatever you do. You have to teach yourself how to win because there's some people who just know how to win better in different things. You just see it. You can just know those people in your mind and know that they know how to win because they found what works. They know when to push, when not to. And I think that you have to have a killer instinct. You have to have a killer instinct in you. If it's not that, you can kind of get it. Some people might have it more, but you have to hone it daily. And that's the thing about consistency. You know, someone can be great, but if they're not consistent, their greatness is diminished. Someone can be very average and consistently do something very average, but over time they just achieve greatness way more because of that consistency. So yes, like the winning mindset is the person who's going to show up every single day. That's a win already, you know. And versus someone who's super talented, gifted and all, but says, you know, I have it in me and I'll do it.
It's easy.
It's the perfect example of the hair
Hair of the
tortoise,
tortoise,
right?
yeah.
Like it's just perfect.
But how do you build that consistency and discipline? You know, over doing it over years, you know, decades. How do you do that?
I think, again, it comes back to what I always say, like just not negotiating with yourself. It's obviously easier said than done because I'm sitting here now comfortably with you, but over years of not negotiating with yourself, it just becomes a habit that you don't go back on saying, I'll do it tomorrow, because tomorrow never comes. Today is the day. And we are here for a reason. And also, you know, over life, it's a short life over time. Yeah, it's a long life in its own way, but a biological clock to perform and to feel healthy and all is not as long, especially as pro athletes. You know, you don't have that forever. Maybe paddle you can, but squash players, 34, 35, tennis, 35, 36, like biologically. So you have to kind of also tell yourself that I can't do this forever.
Yeah.
Running, of course, you can do a lot longer, but not at the level that I want to do it at. So over time, you kind of have, and also I would say that having the right people around you is really important because I feel down so much. Not that, oh, I don't want to go and I need someone to push me every day, but you're right, your parents, your friends, your wife, obviously, your partner in life, that's super important who you choose because they have to understand what drives you.
Yeah.
And she works super hard too, you know, Sasha is her name, and to kind of know each other's triggers, so that their support system is very important.
Yeah.
And obviously, over time, you will support yourself the most. No one is going to be able to support you. Because if you don't want to do it, no one really cares.
True.
You know, like I love this saying, no one cares, work harder. You know, whatever, you're tired, it's okay, no one cares. Go get it done.
Yeah.
And I have always heard champions say that, and now I kind of know that. I'm like, no one cares. Aadit, you're at the track at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, it's peak heat, and you don't want to do it. No one cares. No one knows if you're not going to do it. No one's clapping you. I'm all alone. But I know what I'm building for myself. You have to be selfish in that way. And then have your friends and your family and your wife support you when it's really dark and when it's really tough. So it's a mixture of both, you know.
So motivating.
Yeah.
So motivating to hear that. And, you know, it really takes a lot of your mental
Yeah.
capacity.
It does, because it's not infinite. You know, we think, oh, it's infinite. No, it's not. You're going to feel burnt out.
Yeah.
And it takes a toll on you.
True. So share with us your secret of refueling yourself pre-workout,
Yeah.
post-workout or training. How do you do?
So I get a lot smack for this maybe, but unpopular opinion. So I do a lot of fasting.
Okay.
Everyone has their own way. People want different diets and all, but over time, over years, I've kind of figured out what works for me. I just have electrolytes through the day. I don't actually eat until the evening. Maybe sometimes I'll eat like a lunch, but a very light lunch, like a smoothie, some fruits or something, like some walnuts. But I actually do most of my training fasted. So anything up to 25 kilometers of running, I run on an empty stomach, except with electrolytes. Now, that's not what I'm telling people to do. It's just what I'm used to.
Okay.
But a lot of post-food, post-run nutrition, etc. And in terms of race day and stuff, obviously I have pre, I have post, I have during. That's a whole different ball game. But on a daily basis, I'm talking about, I eat a lot of lean meats for protein. I just basically stick to fish and chicken. I eat a lot of vegetables, at least 2 a day that I try to stick to, whether it's Indian, whether it's international, whatever it is. More just sauteed. No, I try to use literally zero oil. Little oil is good. A little ghee is actually good. People don't realize, but ghee is very healthy. Now the Western world is trying to reframe what ghee is and make it. Ghee is my grandmom at 95 used to give me my whole life, you know. So it's not a bad thing in the small amounts. A lot of fruits actually. I try to stay hydrated through fruits, whatever fruits that you like, whether it's banana, apples, watermelon, papaya, you know, etc. Some dried fruits once in a while. And on the carb side, I try to stay low because I just prefer it. I like high fat, high protein.
Yeah.
But I do have white rice. People have this, oh, brown rice. No, whatever suits you.
Yeah.
Right? I like brown rice. I like white rice, sorry. Then I like a lot of jawar, bajra.
Okay.
And I try to stick to like wraps.
Okay.
It's just simple on my stomach. I like things that are light.
Save a lot
like,
of time.
yeah, save a lot of time. Literally just put the chicken, put like some sauce in it, very light, and then like a spinach wrap, a beetroot wrap, stuff like that. Literally what I ate last night. Very simple, clean. And I have maybe 1 coffee a day and a lot of electrolytes. I'll be sipping something like generally the whole time. So either coconut, actual natural coconut water, electrolytes that I have. We're coming out with our own electrolytes in this new company, so I'm excited about that. So just basically staying hydrated through the day, keeping a light stomach for me, trying to eat good carbs, fats, proteins, and I do supplement well with micronutrients in terms of magnesium, zinc, and all. That's a whole different ball game, but it's simple. People complicate nutrition too much.
I agree with you.
It's just, oh, I need to eat this and that.
Yeah.
Listen,
Let's
guys.
get a nutritionist. Let's go to a dietitian. Let's figure it out.
Yeah, and if someone really has no clue, go for it.
Yeah.
You must get guidance because I've obviously learned over years. I also went to someone like maybe 10 years ago. But after you learn it, you just kind of listen to your body. Like, okay, today it's just, and you know, cravings are actually a deficiency. When you're craving something late at night, whether it's sugar, whether it's salty, there's something that's not working in your body through the day. And once in a while, obviously, I'll enjoy the popcorn too late at night or whatever, but not daily, you know.
Yeah.
So nutrition is super.
It's amazing that you understand. Like, you're not a nutritionist,
No.
but you have taught yourself this. And I think this is something that people need to do. They need to educate themselves.
Absolutely. Just education is so important. Like, and the world is your oyster today. Like, you literally have like things like ChatGPT can create a whole menu based on your requirements now. You don't even have to, you just have to put the prompt.
Yeah.
But people still don't do it. I don't know why. It blows my mind, but it's so simple now.
I agree. So, something that you just said before we started rolling is sleep is the most underrated recovery tool.
Absolutely.
I heard the same from Brian Johnson and Dr. Marcus the other
Love
day
Brian
when he
Johnson.
said that sleep is so important. Could you elaborate more? Because I think this is something that we take for granted and we don't.
Oh my God.
grasp.
And, I'm guilty for that too. Sometimes I don't prioritize sleep. Also because I do have work. I go to work early in the morning. I try to run before that. Family we work in the stock market. So in terms of sleep is the most underutilized free tool for recovery out there. Because if someone can on average get between 7 hours, 30 minutes, 7.5 to 8.5 hours of sleep a night, over time, you're getting that 1 extra hour a night because people generally sleep 5.5 to 7 hours. Social lives, in Bombay, you go out for lunch, dinners, this, that, you come back late, you're watching Netflix, not a problem. But over time, it's going to really hinder your performance and not performance in athletics, which you need sleep no matter what. But just daily, you go to your office, you're groggy, you're not performing, you have an argument with someone. It's irritability that just continues through the day. And compound that over a week, 2 weeks, in 52 weeks, like you're not getting good sleep. Oh my God, like I'd be a horrible person to be around. And most people would be,
I agree.
You'd be frustrated all the time. So sleep is so important. And I'm pretty sure everyone knows that they'll feel better when they sleep well. And you're going to be able to perform better, whether it's a paddle match or it's a high profile, squash match or whatever. You're going to feel a lot better.
I agree.
Sleep.
I agree.
8 hours, 7.5 to 8 hours is
Yeah, uninterrupted,
Uninterrupted, yeah.
sleep.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh my God, I feel like I need a nap because after the nap, you're a better person. With him. Yeah, you're less irritable.
Yeah.
You are calmer, and once you're calmer on the court, or on the running track, you perform better.
Yeah, you're just not frustrated. You're not like in agony getting into the workout. Your basics are so irritable. No, if you okay, I'm here, I'm going to tie my shoes, get my warm up in, and go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apart from this, are there any other biohacks or habits that have really helped you improve your performance?
Supplementation. People, I don't know if there's a stigma around supplementation.
I do not take any supplements
So
whatsoever.
I think it really depends because our body needs certain things in daily, especially perform at a high level. Now, on a daily basis, if you're not getting it, maybe it's okay. But simple minerals that our body just does not produce on the same level, like a magnesium, a zinc, minerals which we generally take at night before sleeping, or stuff like vitamin C, vitamin D. Indians are generally deficient in some of them.
Absolutely.
No one is going to be able to eat as much food to get this on the bioavailability level for cells to actually absorb them daily. So you're constantly going to feel like you're lagging something. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't have a holistic diet and take supplements all day long, but it will help someone a lot. Like simple vitamin C, vitamin B that I take fish oil. The number one best supplement that someone can take today, if they're taking one, is a simple fish oil. Now, for vegetarians, I know that maybe they don't want to take it because, it's fish oil. But fish oil for joints, for ligaments, for heart, for every single thing, fish oil omegas is incredible. Then comes the magnesium, then comes zinc. Simple things like that you can just supplement on a daily basis. I can basically assure whoever that their life is going to drastically improve. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months from now, they're going to feel way better, sleep deeper, wake up better, skin, hair, everything is going to improve. But you have to be consistent, just like anything. It's like you have to do it Monday through Sunday, and one day off is fine, but generally it'll enhance their life a lot.
So do you do your blood work before you decide what supplements to take? What should be the process?
So if it's just simple nutraceuticals, which is vitamins and minerals and all, you don't really need to take blood work. If you're getting really deep into performance supplements, then I would recommend, where are your testosterone levels? And I'm talking about all legal performance supplements because there are a lot of people who do illegal stuff, right? That's something that as athletes we never even want to think about.
Right.
But in terms of just blood work is good to have a baseline of where you are today in terms of as a male, like where's your testosterone? Or as a female, where's your estrogen? Are your cortisol levels high? Are you firing on all cylinders? Are you feeling depleted? Because all that is really important. So I basically like to do blood work 2 to 3 times a year, sometimes 4 when I was competing. But now it's more about just making sure that before races, everything, my blood is clean. Because when you're running 100 plus kilometers, things can go drastically wrong.
Right.
And you don't want clots, you don't want all those kind of things. So it is important, but for people to get health checkups just to see where they are once a year, twice a year. And simple supplements, nutraceuticals and all, no problem. Like magnesium, zinc and all in the given dosage, the whole world takes them. My granddad at 95, touch wood, still comes to the office, he takes them.
Okay.
So it's okay to take. It's in fact good to take.
Okay. Do you have any favorite protein brand?
Originally, I used to be sponsored by Fasten Up when I was competing professionally for squash. And I'm not sponsored by them anymore, but I still really like their brand, their products they give, because I think they're very clean.
Okay.
They have a plant-based and they have a regular. I used to be an ambassador for them, but I'm still saying that they're really good because I think that their protein has never given me any gut issues. Because people generally have gut issues if they take whey isolate, etc. So Fasten Up is good. I don't know of any other brands in India because I was living away for 17 years, almost 16 years. So, but in India, I think Fasten Up is pretty well respected and trustworthy. Most important thing is trustworthy.
Yeah, true. True. I've tried their flavored water.
Yeah, they had the effervescent tablets and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, just the bottle.
Other bottles that we get at the paddle place. Yeah, that's also good.
Yeah.
They electrolyze, but they don't have sugar actually. But sugar is really important for electrolytes.
Right,
People think like, oh, sugar is bad. No, sugar is good if you're burning thousands of calories or hundreds of calories. You need sugar. We are replenishing it.
Yeah, yeah, that's the latest that I have learned, that after like an intense exercise or workout or sport, your body needs sugar especially.
Absolutely.
And then you add carbs or a
Exactly.
fitter.
My rule of thumb is that it doesn't have to be done, but within the first 60 minutes of a workout, an intense one, is when you should be drinking your protein shake. Like, I have put 1.5 scoops a day, and because I already have a lot of natural protein, but I can't get 150-200 grams of protein in a day just from eating. I just don't have the capacity to eat so much. So you do need to supplement, and that's completely fine. In fact, it's good.
Yeah. Sure. So, before we started rolling, you also mentioned that there was a phase in your life where you wanted to completely, and you did completely shun sports.
Correct.
And then you got into the world of hedge funds, and then those were 3 or 4 years, 3 years, no sports for somebody who's grown up playing sports.
Yeah.
Could you explain that? What was that phase like for you mentally?
Yeah.
And it's completely okay because then you came back to sports.
Absolutely.
You chose sports again.
Yeah, correct.
So is it okay to, feel that way about something?
Sure, that's a great question. And the reason I actually firstly took that time off was 2 reasons. One, I'd been basically a performance athlete since I can remember, since I was a junior state swimmer and a gymnast. I was a state champion and gymnastics champion in swimming and gymnastics. And at that point, like from the age of 3 to 4, all the way out until I graduated college, which was 22, which was squash for the last 15, 16 years, I was just so burnt out. I was like, everything is managed, everything is calculated. I was just like, I cannot live like this. It's unhealthy. And at that point, I was also at a pivotal point where I was like, squash at that point at the college where I was at, I wouldn't say peak, but at my highest level at that point, then it's only going professional. And that is a whole different ballgame, which I eventually did. But I got like a dream job in New York at the time when I was living right outside Philly in college. And I was like, this is it. So then I put all that hunger and motivation that I had for sport into the job. And it was perfect at the time. But I did continue in terms of athletics, but I didn't do any performance athletics. So I was into CrossFit at the time. I was lifting a lot. I would just do random workouts. So I always stay fit because that is like a way of life for me, kind of like a monk or warrior mindset. But I never competed at that time. And it was one of the best things because, that fire, when it kind of dulls down or you feel saturated, then you're just going into reserves all the time to perform. And that's like burnout. That's pure burnout. I think that's what I kind of had at the age 2014 when I graduated. I was 22.
Okay.
And 22 to 25 was when I took off squash or performance athletics. And then at 25, when I was just kind of moving back to India at the time, I wasn't sure the job, there was issues with the visa, with the whole administration changing and all. So I was like, okay, but do I want to go back to India yet? And at that point, I was like, all my family, my friends were like, you were a champ is growing up in squash. You've been a really good player. Why not think of going pro at the time? And I think the itch in my belly just started coming back. The basement was lighting that fire again. And I'm like, okay, what does that take? And then I basically took a one-way ticket like a crazy man to Cairo, Egypt, met my coach over there who was a multiple world champion player coach. And we had 5 of the most incredible years, and I gave it everything. And but those 3 years, I needed off. I just needed off from not thinking, oh, I can't eat this today, or I have to weigh my food, or I need to think of calories, or I can't have a drink tonight. And I was just like, I'm in New York City. This is only coming once in my life.
Yeah.
Let's enjoy.
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
Yeah. That's amazing. You wanted to taste the other side.
Absolutely.
As a kid, you were still young and you wanted to see what.
Never had that my whole life. Because when my friends were in the 8th or 9th standard eating magic masala in school, I wasn't.
Oh, really?
I didn't. Like, I did indulge as a kid a little, but if my friends indulged 9 out of 10 out of times, I would do it once.
Okay.
So I'd always sacrificed, from not going to birthdays to no New Year's to no drinking. I was the last out of all my friends to drink alcohol, years later. Like, few people started drinking at a young age. I was like 4 or 5 years later I started drinking, so, and that too was so occasionally. So I finally said, I just want to kind of live for myself. And I felt a relief at that time.
And what's your advice for people who give up too soon?
There's this quote that has really helped me in good stead, and it's from a famous rapper, Jay-Z. He said, the genius thing we did was not give up. That's it. And I think there's a lot of genius in that quote, because you just don't know how close you are to actually making it. You just don't know. And if it wasn't for COVID and other situations in my life, I was engaged, etc., wanted to come back. I've been away for 16 years. I'm an only child, but mainly COVID. I'd have continued playing squash for years, and I would have wanted to try making top 50 in the world and, trying to go really, really high up in the ranks. But that's the thing. In that situation, I wouldn't say I gave up. I just the right decision for me, my family, my future, because we didn't know how long COVID was going to last. I waited for 2 extra years in Cairo just training, but giving up is one of those things that I think you'll regret for the rest of your life. And I'm saying that on a daily basis. If you don't finish a run today because it's a smarter decision, fine. I'm talking about the bigger things in life. Like, you set out on a goal. I'll just say this one thing, that Alex Honnold, who's this free solo climber, I don't know if you know who he is.
I was just watching his documentary yesterday.
I learned so much from this guy. And he said something that really resonated with me. For him, and to be honest, for me, life is about performance. Because nothing great from what he said comes from being cozy and happy in a bed, and as much as I do have that from time to time, that's not what I was built for, or not what I'm made for. And I've always wanted to change the game for myself. Maybe there are thousands of people more successful and more talented and everything, but outworking someone and being on a relentless path to my goals is what life is about for me. And now I have a wife, obviously, so we try to sacrifice within it, within compromise. But she knew who I was all along and has taken this journey with me, because going for something like Badwater, training for it, is a huge amount of sacrifice on her end too. And giving up isn't an option. So really don't negotiate with yourself, because these days, they don't come back. And I don't want to regret not giving myself every single thing daily, because I will leave no stone unturned and I'll keep going. That's my mentality.
Amazing. So cool. My last question. What's harder, starting a race or finishing it?
Starting a race. Yeah. Because most people, take an average person who's at home and doesn't want to go to a workout. The hardest thing is getting off the bed and leaving the door.
I agree.
Because once you're in the gym and your shoes are tight, the laces are on, headphones are in, 99% of people are finishing their workout. But it's the people who don't leave their house because of all the 100 excuses and the demons in their head of why I don't want to do it. People lose already there, and that's giving up to me. And I just don't negotiate myself. So no matter what, I'm getting out of the house. I'm getting on that road, getting in that court, and I'm going to find a way, because that's what champions do. Because if you really want to be a champion at anything, you just find a way, and that's what it takes to be a winner.
Wow,
For me, that's how I look to life.
so great talking to a champion. I feel so motivated.
So
And there's so much wisdom in what you shared for
you.
people who are doing anything, not just sports,
Yeah.
but even like in business, in life, not giving up, training yourself.
Absolutely.
All the amazing tips that you shared with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. This was really incredible. I'm so glad I'm able to pay it forward to people, and hopefully this inspires someone, because a big part of it is just inspiring someone.
Absolutely.
I'm not getting anything in return from them, obviously, but it's more about like if one person decides, okay, I saw this video and I decided to go get that run, and that kind of ripples into their life and says, I want to do it tomorrow and day after. That's a very positive change for me, an impact that I'm able to make. And for me, that's what it's about too. It's not only about my selfish goals, it's our personal goals. It's about helping people on their goals too. And I think inspiration that I've gained from my role models, my wife, my parents, and these people, I want to pay it forward to people.
Absolutely. That's another sign of a champion.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.